In this video, the facts about Article 32 of our Indian Constitution will be discussed. Now, first of all, why should we know about this article? And what is the significance of this article? And how will the details about this article can be understood? Let me come straight to the point. Article 32 is the right to the constitutional remedies, and one of the main persons behind the framing of our constitution, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, has expressed his view about this article and called this article as the heart and soul of the constitution. By his statements we can understand how much important is this article in our constitution. And to enforce the fundamental rights, the Supreme Court can issue writs of various forms, and this concept of issuing writs is adapted from the UK. So this concept of issuing writs is adapted from UK. Coming to the first writ, the first writ is Habeas Corpus, and this is issued to protect the personal liberty of an individual against the arbitrary action of a state or a private individual. And the meaning of this habeas corpus is to have the body, that is, to be produced before the court. So to understand this habeas corpus more clearly, let me give you an example. Like, for example, you are having a neighbor called as John, and after hearing the disturbance from your neighbor John, you have complained about him to the police. Now the police has taken John to the Department of Questioning. There he answered the questions about the disturbance and admits that he has hit his wife. Now the officers then arrest John for domestic violence. So after being in the jail for some days, John feels that he is arrested illegally under false pretension and files a petition for habeas corpus. And this is how the habeas corpus can be used, and the example that I have given for habeas corpus will make you clear. Next, the second one of the writs is Mandamus, and this Mandamus is issued against a public authority or an officer and inferior courts for enforcing legal rights only, but it cannot be issued against president and governors. The meaning of this Mandamus is we command. So let me tell this point once again. This Mandamus cannot be issued against the president and governors. The third one of the writs in our constitution is prohibition, and this prohibition writ is issued by the higher courts to the lower courts to keep them within their limits. And the meaning, for example, a higher court can issue prohibition writ to a lower court so that it can be kept in its limits. The meaning of this prohibition is to restrain or to stop. Now, let me give you a noteworthy point about this. The Mandamus and prohibition may look similar to each other, but the main difference between these two is Mandamus can be issued against judicial as well as administrative authorities, whereas prohibition can only be issued against the judicial bodies. And simply saying, Mandamus is an order by a court to lesser government official to perform an act required by the law which he has refused or neglected to do. Now, the fourth writ, Certiorari. The Certiorari or the Certiorari can be issued by higher courts to quash the order of a lower court. The lower court has given its order and the petition is filed in a higher court. Now the higher court will issue this writ certiorari to quash the order given by lower court. And the difference between prohibition and certiorari is that the prohibition is issued at an earlier stage, whereas this certiorari is issued at the latter stage, that is after the lower court has given its verdict. Next, the meaning of this certiorari is law. Fifth one of the writs is Quo Warranto, and this is issued to ensure that the person holding a public office is qualified to hold the office. For example, let me explain this Quo Warranto using this example. A person who is having an age of 65 years has been appointed to fill a public office, whereas the retirement age is 60 years only. In such case, the appropriate High Court has a right to issue a writ of Quo Warranto and remove this person, and it can declare that the office is vacant. This is how Quo Warranto can be used. So, this is all about Article 32.